Hello, my dear students. I'm Mrs. Mariam Kamal. Let's start our lesson for today. We have here some sentences. Let's read them. She wrote her homework. We went on a picnic in the park. They watched TV. He washed his hands. I brushed my teeth. Okay. You have here the action or the verbs. They are written in red. As you see, what's the meaning of action or verb? Something that you do. We have, where are the verbs here? We have wrote, went, watched, washed, brushed. So, what do you notice here? So, let's underline these verbs, okay? As you see here, this group, the second group, the verbs end in ed, right? But in the first group, they are different, right? So, they don't end in ed. And what about the sense of these sentences? Yes, excellent. They happened in the past. Actions that started and happened in the past. So I'm talking about past simple. So we have here the timeline, the present. When we talk about the present time, if we talk about something that will happen, we call it future. And if we're talking about something that started and finished, we call it past simple. This is the timeline. So we are here in past simple. So we have here a picture. Let's read the sentence here. It rained yesterday. So I'm talking about an action that started and happened in the past. Okay, so maybe today it's sunny. So finished, completed action. Okay, so we have here two groups or two categories, regular verbs and irregular verbs. As you saw in the first slide that we have two groups, some verbs, they look the same, they end in ed, and the second group, they don't look the same, right? So we have regular verbs and we have irregular verbs. What's the meaning of regular verbs? Verbs ending in d or ed or ied. Like what? Watch, watched, wash, washed. Like, liked. Study, studied. Okay, what about the irregular verbs? Verbs that completely change, like go, went, write, wrote. Okay, so verbs ending in d or ed or ied, we call them regular verbs, and verbs that completely change, we call them irregular verbs. Okay, so here in like, it's already this verb ends in e already, right? So we added the only. What about watch, wash, and play? We added ed. What about study here? We crossed the y and we put ied, and we are going to talk about this rule. Okay? And here, verbs that completely change, like go, went, write, wrote, we call it irregular verbs. Okay? Let's start talking about regular verbs. Tom escaped from the prison. Okay, so something happened in the past. This is regular verb, right? They watched TV yesterday or last night. So action happened in the past, started and finished. Okay, what about this slide? We have A, E, I, O, U. What are these? These are the vowels. These are the vowels, the vowel letters, okay? So the first rule here we have, if you have one vowel before the last letter, in the verb, double the last letter, then add ed. Like stop. What do you have before the last letter? O. Travel, E. Step, E. So what are you going to do? Double the last letter, okay? Stopped, traveled, stepped. But if you have two vowels before the last letter, never double the last letter. Why? Maybe they are busy reading, eating, drinking, so they are not naughty. Just add ed. But here, if you have one vowel, you have to double the last letter and put ed. Okay? Because the vowels, they are naughty. Maybe they hit the last letter and divide it into two. So, doubling and ed. But we have, for every rule, we have exceptions, right? So, these verbs are, they don't follow the rule. They are exceptions. What are these verbs? Never double the last letter with these naughty verbs. What are these naughty verbs? Listen, open, visit, enter, happen, answer, water, iron, right? So even if you have one vowel, you have E, E, I, E, O, right? Just add ed. Never double the last letter, which is N or T or R. Never double the last letter. Okay? The vowels here, you have the vowels here again. Okay, and the Y case. Okay, what about the Y case? Okay, if you have before the Y, if the verb ends in Y, and you have before Y one of the vowels, A or E or I or O or U, no, don't double the Y, because this is another case. We call it Y case. What are you going to do? Just add ed. Why, Miss Mariam? Because the vowels, they are very, very strong. They are bodyguards for the Y. So we have some examples. Play. What do you have before Y? Because we call it Y case. A, one of the bodyguards? Yes. Anything is gonna happen to the Y? No. Just add ed. Played. Enjoyed. But if you don't have one of the vowels, you have a consonant, what's gonna happen to the Y? Yes. Cross Y, it will run away, escape. Cross Y and put IED, like study, studied, okay? Try, tried, okay? So, whenever you have what you have here before Y, D, one of the bodyguards, no, cross Y and put IED. Cross Y and put IED. Excellent. Okay. Irregular verbs. Okay, so we were talking about regular verbs, verbs that end in D or ED or IED. What about irregular verbs? Verbs that completely change. We are talking about what? Past simple. What's past simple? Actions that started and finished in the past. Okay? What are the irregular verbs? Go, went, find, found. We have so many irregular verbs, we have to study them. Yesterday, we went on a picnic in the park. We ate sandwiches, drank some fresh juice. Okay, so go, went, eat, ate, drink, drank. Okay, that's the end of our video. Thank you so much.